Hello and welcome to season 16's the only Garen guide you ever need. So, why should you listen to me? Well, I have over 3.3 million mastery points on Garen as of the end of this season. And
Welcome
beyond
to
that,
Summoner's Rift.
I have been able
Minions have spawned.
to brainstorm the best idea to play Garen this season. So what you wanna do is that you wanna start out with Stridebreaker, and then for boots, what you're gonna do is simply that you're gonna think for yourself, do I need dueling power against the side laner when the laning phase is over? If the answer to that question is yes, I do need dual power against my laning opponent after the laning phase is over. If that is the case, then what you need to do is that you should get Berserker Grids. It's that simple, really. And if you do not need Berserker Grids, because you don't need dueling power, then you go Swifty Boots, like that. So let's say that I am meeting a person that I do not need to duel in the side lane. What you wanna do then is that you go for Dead Man's Plate. And the reason for that is that the top lane quest is gonna give you a free teleport. This means that every single top laner will always have a teleport. That, together with the home guard rework, meaning that the home guard movement speed when you recall or die in the early game is gonna have a duration all the way until you run out to your outermost turret for that lane. This means that movement speed is more important than anything else. So that's why Swifties and the Dead Man's Plate will function supreme together with Garen's kit after Garen's rework. And let's say that you do need to have dual power. What you do instead of getting Dead Man's Plate is that you get Spear of Sodium. And here's the thing. If you get Spear of Sodium instead of Dead Man's Plate, then you buy Dead Man's Plate after the Spear of Sodium. And the same thing again for the other scenario. So if you buy Dead Man's Plate, then you buy Spear of Sodium afterwards, like I do here. And the reason for that is that you simply get so high value of the Spear of Sodium after the Garen rework, when his E gets lower cooldown per level that he puts into it. The additional 25 ability haste from the Spear of Sodium and the percentile bonus damage from the Spear of Sodium is so highly valuable that it's the best dueling item in the game for Garen after his rework. So you should always prioritizing having Spear of Sodium in your inventory. And the thing is that because every single lane in the game is going to have plates, then Hullbreaker is gonna be fantastic of an item choice to have, because thanks to top lane having teleport, you can always try to have side lane pressure But on the same time, because your lane opponent also always have the access to the same teleport, what you need to be doing is that you need to have a hybrid build in between split pushing and team fighting. So a final item would be Warmong's armor, and the reason why Warmong's armor is so unbelievably powerful this game and this season overall is that you're gonna have a 28% HP scaling on Demolish, and they buffed the Demolish rune cooldown from 45 down to 30%. So if you combined the fact that every single item that you buy will give you HP together with Warmong's armor and Hullbreaker and demolish above that, you're gonna demolish towers and destroy them so unbelievably fast, it's insane. And the Warmong armor will help you gain the additional sustain you need for team fighting. And the Deadman's Plate, most most needed added mobility, will be crucial for you to help you operate team fights properly. And with this build right here, marches as I find that in theory this is gonna be the best build that you're gonna get in this season on Garen. And for the simple fact that you're gonna need it in order to take the tower plates, because every single tower has plates. So it's super important to be able to stack up the Hullbreaker and the Demolish to get an item and rune synergy. So that's why every item in this build also gives you a HP. And here's the thing, if you need some type of anti-heal or anti-shielding, so Serpent's Fang or
I stand ready.
Mortal Reminder for anti-healing, what you do is that you just replace Warmong armor with that item, like that, or simply do Serpent's Fang, which is gonna be this, right? And then you're going to be able to be flexible anyway, because if you're not the solo tank on the team, then you don't need additional sustain from the Warmong's armor, so then it's completely fine to swap the Warmong's armor over to either Serpent's Fang or a Mortal Reminder if you need it, because if you're gonna meet a Fiora and dueling her in the side lane, then when you or finishing Stridebreaker, you will get an Executioner, then you build into Spear of Sodian, and just holding off the Executioner and wait to upgrading it until later on in the game. So that's how you think about itemization on Garen. As for runes, well, you see, Unshield Spellbook is gonna be very powerful this season. And the reason for that is that if you swap the teleport before you're done with the quest, the quest teleport will not be off cooldown. This means that you can teleport back with Unsealed Spellbook to the lane, and then directly afterwards teleport back again with the top lane quest teleport. And this is very crucial thing to understand, because this means that you can utilize your teleport from Unsealed Spellbook every game before you get the quest ready, and then cutting your opponent off guard by gaining an extra teleport for free in the early game. So highly recommend that you take the Unsealed Spellbook in order to be
Our
able
deeds shape the future.
to utilize the double teleport advantage. Because imagine having teleport advantage how it was the last season, when the other person had teleport and you don't, when they could reset when you want to. Now imagine that again, but the person has 2 teleports instead of 1. As of right now, because Riot Games has still not been nerfing this, if they don't change this, this is gonna lead to a advantage that's feeling unbelievably unfair, because Garen's early game is already very horrific in the first place. That's why you have your passive, and that's why this build is so unbelievably good in the first place, because the HP that you get from every single item will stack up the lane sustain as well. So the added lane sustain from the items, the added lane sustain from the Unsealed Spellbook, and the added lane sustain from the extra teleport, it's almost impossible to not be at least even or slightly ahead of your lane opponent's CS numbers. So I'm telling you that Unsealed Spellbook Garen is going to be unbelievably broken this season. And beyond that note, what you should pick every single game on Garen is that if you do not have Unsealed Spellbook, then you take Flash Ignite. If you do have Unsealed Spellbook, you either take Flash Ignite or you take Flash Ghost. So Flash Ghost is gonna be more useful if they have more ranged than melees. Just because the added mobility is very crucial for Garen to operate properly, and that gives you more teamfight maneuverability, and that's going to be more valuable this season, because team fighting is going to be a crucial part of this season, due to the fact that because both top laners always have access to teleport, that means that the teleport macro from the top laners is gonna really determine if you have a people advantage or not for every given team fight. That's why you have to build a build of items that will give you the flexibility of both splitting and team fighting at the same time, because you cannot do just one, you need to do both in order to succeed this season. You have no other option, you know. And the key points to take away from this guide is that Demolish is gonna be super OP. You have to be able to adapt between the split pushing and the teleport into teamfight playstyle. as objective fights going to be more crucial now when the top laner always can show up to the fight due to the access of teleport. And beyond that, it's very crucial to think about your itemizations on the last items to be able to adapt for this playstyle fully. If you don't have additional frontline, I highly recommend Warmonk's Armor last item. But if you do additional have additional frontline, then what you should do is to opt for more teamfight utility, because it's completely fine. Let's say that you're solo tanking on the team, but you already have the debuff the team needs. It's completely valid to go lock it of Ancelarity, because the active is gonna be so unbelievably crucial for the team anyway, right? It's gonna shield an ally for up to 360 damage. So that times 5 is over 1k damage that you block for pressing one item slot. And that could be very crucial. But let's say that your support builds Locket, then you don't want to build Locket, because the Locket has a debuff for 20 seconds in which you only get 25% of the value from the item. So if your support already have a Locket, the way you should think about it is that either you can go Nitro if you have a good ADC. If you do not have a good ADC and you still need a frontline, then you can also go Yaxo, because the additional resistances that you get from the item is unbelievably good for the sake of surviving in teamfights. And this is basically how I think about items for Garen for Season 16. If you have any comments, if you have anything that you want to tell me, if you think that I'm wrong in any way, if you can feel free to tell me in the comments. But for now, I think I have said everything that I have wanting to say, so I wanted to thank you for watching this guide, and I hope this guide gonna help you improving Garen's gameplay as of Season 16, and this is my theory on how you're going to need to operate Garen in order to get the best value from Garen's kit during the Season 16. And with that said, I want to again thank you for all your support for watching the video. If you have watched it this far, please leave a like, subscribe, and I see you again in the next video, okay? Goodbye.